Welcome to another episode of College Town Talk. I'm Jonathan Frank, and I'm so happy to be joined once again by my guest co-host and friend, Susan Luna Hazlewood, the Executive Director of Tennessee Tech's Crawford Alumni Center. Susan, thanks for coming back.
Thank you for inviting me again. I love being here with you, and I'm excited to chat some more today.
Well, we love having you here. Shan Stout is out this week. She'll be back in a couple of weeks, but glad to have you here. And Susan, it's we're recording this interview just before the new student move-ins. This will air next week during the first week of classes. We've got our week of welcome activities coming up. Do you have a favorite week of welcome activity?
That's a tough question because there are so many great week of welcome activities now, but I think my current favorite one is the Mix and Mingle, which we did not have when I was a student. So I've only gotten to experience it later, as a few years later, as an alum and as a staff person. But I love the fact that some of the student organizations get to be there and talk to students. Our division, the advancement division, is actually sponsoring a new student organization, so I'm going to take this moment to plug it. The Golden Eagle Impact, and a student organization focused on service and philanthropy. So they will be at Mix and Mingle, and so I'm excited for them to be there.
Oh, I love that. I'm excited about College Town Kickoff, which we also didn't have when either of us were students. And they've got Dustin Lynch this year, who I know some of his songs, so I'll be there singing along. I was there last year for Flow Rider.
I was there last year, yes. I fit right in with everybody last year.
Well, we're excited about our guest today, and really appropriate for Week of Welcome because our guests are two people who have made a significant impact on the kind of experience that our students will have here in Cookeville at Tennessee Tech.
That's right. Today we have the opportunity to speak with John and Sandy MacDonald, the owners of the iconic Ralph's Donut Shop, located on South Cedar Avenue in Cookeville's West Side. Ralph's has been a part of Tech students' memories and meals for nearly 65 years, ever since it first opened its doors in an old bus stop back in 1962. John and Sandy became the new owners of Ralph's 6 years ago, and they have dedicated themselves to preserving and building upon Ralph's legacy as a place for college students, families, tourists, and locals alike to gather together to enjoy delicious donuts and good company. John and Sandy, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have so much that we want to ask you both today, but let's start with the decision back in 2020 to buy one of the most beloved and recognizable businesses in the Upper Cumberland. How did you all decide to go for that opportunity? And did you feel any pressure knowing that you were buying such a beloved business that a lot of people have a strong attachment to?
It was all Sandy's idea. 100%.
Well, he's not lying. I saw that it was for sale on Facebook. And at the time, I was making a career change and wanting to stay home. And I knew that this would be right up his alley because he loves to socialize and talk to everybody. And I thought, what a better place to do that than a donut shop. And I just kind of half jokingly said, hey, why don't you look into buying this? And he actually did. And then I kind of started backpedaling and was like, oh no, I don't know if this is really a great idea. And the rest is history, though. We purchased it, and we have been very intentional about trying to capture and maintain the integrity of the business, the vibe of the business. I know that the previous owners were very selective on who they sold the business to. It's been in their family. We were the first people who were not, family members to be involved in that business. So we really wanted to, just preserve that vibe that the donut shop had.
And I've read a little bit about how intentional you all have been about preserving that, that legacy. There was an interview where you said the only thing that you've changed is light bulbs because you want. I mean, it's the recipes. People love it, and you said if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that it feels just like the Ralphs that I knew in college when I go there now. So you all really have preserved that, but. John, I want to start with you on this question. I was doing a little interview prep before our conversation today, and I went back and listened to an interview both of you did with Mayor Randy Porter on his show. And I learned that before buying Ralph's, you were living out in North Carolina building oil and gas pipelines, and I guess both of you had a career in that field. So this is quite a pivot. What has been the best thing about this career move, going from the oil and gas pipeline industry to owning Ralph's Donuts, and maybe what has been the most surprising thing?
Probably we've cut out the traveling.
Yeah.
And that has been really nice. It's nice to come into Ralph's every day, go home every day. You know, our kids are not all over the country. It wasn't just North Carolina, it was everywhere. I think that's probably the best. A little more domesticated, maybe. So the pipeline was a really good education. In 32 years, the one certainty that we had was uncertainty. It was a different place, a different problem, a different challenge, a different everything. So going into Ralph's, that really, that was a good thing. You know, no problem is too big. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. You know, we know how to pivot, and so that was a good thing going into Ralph's.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you talk about pivoting. I mean, I know you bought the business in 2020, and we all remember that year. I mean, it was COVID,
Yeah.
and so where did that fall in the timeline of buying the business and then the pandemic hit? Did you bought the business first,
Yes.
and then COVID hit?
Yeah, we bought it like December something.
January 1st was
Yeah.
the official date.
Yeah,
I
it was
guess.
the official date. And so then COVID happened in March, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we are in big trouble." And that was not the case. Cookeville is so supportive, and we have such a great community here. Like, people came out the woodwork and just showed up for us, and I could not be more grateful for that. I know one night in particular, I remember I was driving up there for something, and it was around 8:30 at night, and I was coming up on Spring Street, you know, right next to Spring Street Market at that red light, and I saw these tail lights, and it was like traffic was backed up, and then I went the back way, and I was like, oh my goodness, all those cars were backed up to go through our drive-through.
Oh wow!
And I just started crying, and I was just like, thank you, you know, because it was a scary time for everybody, but especially someone who just put everything that they had into an idea and, you know, behind this business when we had zero experience or expectation, and then a worldwide pandemic happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm really glad to hear that the Cookeville community was so supportive
yeah.
of you all during that time. That makes me proud to be a part of this community,
Mhm.
'cause I love it here. So I'm glad that they supported y'all like that. Okay, so Sandy, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You mentioned a few minutes ago that one of your reasons for being here and doing things is that you would stay home a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then you all bought a business, and so you now co-own it. And I'm assuming you don't stay home as much as you originally thought. And not everyone would be cut out for co-owning a business with their spouse, but you all have clearly found a way to be successful partners in business and in life. So for listeners out there who may be thinking of going into business with their spouses, how do you make it work?
I would say in the very beginning, like in the talking stages of when we purchased the business, we were not naive to the amount of effort and work that it was going to take to make this successful. But John nor myself have ever been one to shy away from hard work. And I think that that's one thing that being in the pipeline industry has really developed, is a very strong work ethic. And we were just determined to see it succeed. And so we had like a 1-year goal, 3-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal. And so we knew that it was going to be, you know, like a third child. And sometimes I'm not thrilled about that because it is. And I don't like that because that means I don't get to go to Panama City on fall break while everyone else goes. But I will say that we do work well together. And the part of what makes that is that John has a lot of good strengths. Like, he's much more of a people person, where I'm behind the scenes. If someone's out there and they want to talk, you know, all I can think about is the list of things that need to be done in the office. And he's just, that's not even on his radar. It's, you know, much different. And so he really plays to my weaknesses, and I have the opportunity to just help out whenever I can. And but honestly, like, he carries it. He just lets me tag along. So
Well, and I see you both, I mean, in the shop. I mean, I've seen you working there, and I don't know, I just really respect, business owners that are engaged in the day-to-day goings on of their business. I mean, you'll be there serving donuts. I go in every now and then, and I adjunct a class at Tech, and I'll buy Ralph's Donuts for my students every so often. And you're there working and just serving at the counter. And I imagine as a business owner, that's there can't be a more effective way to really know what's going on in your business than to just be there and be working a shift with everyone else. And what you all are saying sounds a lot. We early on, one of our first interviews on this podcast was Tyler and Anna Dunn from Soulcraft, and she talked about how just different strengths, like you said. She said Tyler's kind of the business mind and doing the accounting and the bookkeeping, and she's the more extroverted people person. So I guess that's, you all have found a similar system.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both have strengths and weaknesses, and we've learned to who does well at what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have most of the weaknesses. She has most of the strengths.
Well said.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well-
I'm just joking.
Well, obviously it's working well for you all. And you got some really exciting news last year when it was announced that Ralph's Donut Shop was named to the National Register of Historic Places. And I remember a lot of us followed this news kind of as it was unfolding, because it was like we saw the progression of this, and local news was covering it. You, and tell me if I have this right, you first had to be nominated by the Tennessee Historical Commission. And so there was coverage at that. You got that, you checked that box, and then we were all waiting for that announcement from the National Park Service to make the final decision, it's interesting. I think many of us were learning how that works for the first time. Like, it's, you all aren't a park, you're a
Yeah.
business, but the National Park Service makes that decision. So when you learned that Ralph's had indeed been added to that register, what was your reaction, and what does it mean practically for the business and the building going forward?
It was a lot of fun going through that process. We one of the biggest things that I was hoping for during that process was more stories, more memories, maybe some more pictures to come out. I love the history of it. So that was a lot of fun. Going to Nashville, attending the meetings, that was an interesting thing. We learned quite a bit going through this too, because we were a little bit unaware of how things went on. But it was a really cool process through and through.
Yeah, it was. It was very interesting. I had no idea the amount of hoops that you had to jump through, and all of the red tape and the approval that everyone had to give to make this happen. And I don't know, like, as far as the business, it really hasn't changed a whole lot for us or anything like that. But it's just we are somewhat of a time capsule, like as we are right now, and like it or not, that's the way the community wants this to stay. And so we're listening to that, and we're really just trying to work towards being able to preserve that for as long as we can. And I think that this was a good step in the right direction.
Well, how did you, because we all saw about it, like I said, on the news, but was there a letter, a phone call? How were you first notified? I imagine you learned before anybody else. How did you first get that news?
Well, we got a letter that we had been nominated, and then you go to Nashville. And where was that place that we went?
It's I can't think of the name of the place now. It's on Lebanon.
It was this really old, historical, beautiful property, and they bring you in. It's all in a room like a library, and you're in there with other nominees. And then they ask you questions. It's almost like an interview, and you got to pass the test. I don't really like that a whole lot.
I'm picturing like Shark Tank. You have to go and make a pitch to a panel of.
But like in the 1800s, like everything is like very old. And then they let you know that we have their approval, and then it has to go to Washington, D.C. and then they will let us know in 5 weeks whether they approved it or not. I had no idea that that was it. I walked into this like, do, 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 do. And then when they said that, I was like, wow, this might be a little bit of a big deal. And then we found out.
And even prior to that, there was a couple of visits to Ralph's,
Yeah.
people that were measuring, taking pictures. And luckily, we have a lot of documentation. We have a lot of pictures. We have some old newspaper articles. So it was not that hard to lay that out in front of them. And they said, sure, this is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Were you? I mean, you talked about newspaper articles. Were you surprised at the media coverage around this decision by the National Park Service? I mean, I think Channel 5 came out and
Yeah.
interviewed you all. There was a lot of publicity around this.
Yeah, I wasn't really surprised, honestly. And I don't say that prideful. I just, because Ralph's is such a big deal to Cookeville and Tennessee in general. Like, I'll be out, and if we have a T-shirt on in Nashville, like, people will stop you and be like, "Oh, I love that donut shop," and they have no idea. And I'm just like, "Yeah, it's a really good one," you know. But I mean, it's well known throughout the Upper Cumberland and the Middle Tennessee area. So I wasn't surprised by that, but just very humbled by the fact that people still want to pay attention and still want to love on us.
It's the one place in town that you can go and not just buy a donut, but you can also go in there and relive the memory as it happened 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Okay, well, John, you may be an adopted Cookevillian, but when people see the way you support the Golden Eagles, they could easily think that you've lived here your entire life. In fact, you and Sandy have been attending Tennessee Tech football games for many years, and I know that you are eagerly looking forward to the first season in the new Tucker Stadium, as are all of us. What does the new stadium and the momentum surrounding Tennessee Tech football mean to you all as fans and as local business owners?
Well, I don't know who said this, but excitement creates excitement. And these, from a business standpoint, the football games, the alumni that come back, all the people that come back, it is such a big deal to all the local businesses, not just Ralph's, but everybody. You know, it's a lot of revenue. It's a lot of tax revenue. That's a big deal. It's also a big deal to me to watch all these people come through the door, get their donuts, and then they're going to head to the new stadium or come out of the new stadium and come to Ralph's and get the donuts on the way home. So all those smiles are a really nice thing to see.
Well, I know it means a lot to the university, to Tennessee Tech athletics, to have that kind of support from influential people in the community like you all. And yeah, we're all actually, Susan and I are missing our weekly kind of planning meeting with Tennessee Tech athletics to do this recording today. So we're all eagerly looking forward to August 29th. Everybody, get your tickets, ttusportstickets.com. But John and Sandy, I'm looking at the clock here, and I was hoping we'd have time for an extra question, and it looks like we will. So I want to ask you all, recently the Cookeville City Council, I think unanimously approved this 39 Depot Master Plan. Mm-hmm. And you all are kind of right there in this area that is going to be, as I understand, kind of revitalized, more parking, which I know is a really big thing for businesses in the West Side. Some kind of streetscaping and changes to that area between really your business and Cream City and those businesses right there. A change to what they call Malfunction Junction, that area that can be a little tricky for cars. What does that mean to you all? What kind of engagement did you have with the city throughout that process? And is it? I just really curious for your thoughts. They had an open session or I guess a public hearing, I should say, for the tech community, and I had a chance to go and listen to the presentation, and it sounded really exciting to me. But you all are right there in the thick of this. What does that mean to you?
Well, anytime there's any improvement to downtown, it is great for everyone on the West Side. And we all know that parking is a situation down there in itself. And I'm just glad that we're moving along in some direction to see that area to be utilized for something other than just an eyesore. And I hope it brings business to all of the West Side. I mean, there's so many great businesses down there. It's a whole event in itself just to go out on like a Friday or Saturday night, and you can sit at the depot and listen to them play music and go get some ice cream at Cream City or shop at any. We love all those places. Ralph's is just a small part of many places that you can choose from to get a sweet treat down on the West Side. But I hope it brings more business and just more acknowledgement to small business owners, because there is a cost, and it is passed down to the owners, and so all the support that we can get is very welcomed and needed.
Yeah, well, I love hearing that, because like I said, I mean, it sounds really positive to me, but you all know better than anyone else, and I know I think in that final phase, one of the sort of proposed ideas is that they'd love to get like a boutique hotel down there, which I think would be so cool.
Yeah.
But really, really exciting. Well, finally, John and Sandy, we end every interview on this podcast with the same question, regardless of who the guest is. And that is, what is one way that Tennessee Tech has impacted your life?
Going to give me the tough question?
No, I've got an answer. I know.
Go ahead.
There are so many people that we've partnered with that are either at Tennessee Tech or graduates of Tennessee Tech that I am so thankful for. Like our social media manager, Rob Frazier, he is a graduate of Tech, and he is indispensable to us. And we currently work with the marketing department at Tennessee Tech. We work with their students. And so they get to come in and get real life experience and do some social media ads and reels and stuff like that. So it's also giving us a fresh perspective on what's trending. And so those relationships really mean a lot. And Tech just keeps, producing heavy hitters. We're thankful for that.
Such quality.
Yeah.
Just very good quality. They're great.
Yeah, well, I was gonna tell you all when we stopped recording that your social media and your website is really great, because I was looking at all that before we did this interview. So I love knowing that Tech students had a hand in that.
Yeah.
John and Sandy, thank you so much for being our guests today on College Town Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
And for our listeners, if you're enjoying our show and hearing from Cookeville business leaders like John and Sandy MacDonald, would you do us a favor and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get this podcast? It all helps to spread the word about the great things happening right here in Cookeville.
We'll meet you back here again next week for more conversations with the people who make Cookeville, Tennessee's college town. College Town Talk is presented by Tennessee Tech University in partnership with the Cookeville-Putnam County Convention and Visitors Bureau and Stonecom Radio. Your hosts are Jonathan Frank and Shan Stout, and original music is performed by Andrew Buckner. Visit us online at tntech.edu/collegetowntalk.